Okay, hello. My name is Lisa Nagel, and I am a PhD scholar at the Norwegian Institute for Children's Books, where I write about both children's theatre and children's literature. And I would like to say thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm honored to speak about this. But first, I would like to say thank you to the previous speaker for this interesting presentation of collaboration between Norway and Hungary. I both know of the Glitterbird project and also the University of Agder, the platform Shift Plus. It was interesting. And also I will tell Ivar Selmer-Olsen, if I happen to meet him, that you said these nice things about him. Okay, my aim for today is to give you an overview of a project that I have developed and also led. And it's part of my PhD work, and it's called the SceSam-project. And as I decided to give you a short overview of the Norwegian landscape of performing arts for children, I added this title. It's a bit complicated, and I might not deliver exactly that, but my intention is to give you a little bit of both. The presentation will hopefully give you an idea of the project, of what we have accomplished, but also what our challenges were. But before I go into that, I will try to give you an overview. But I will just start with this picture, inspired partly by... oh no, it's not there. It's always the case. Okay, it's not there. I will show you later then. Yes, I've created 3 categories of Norwegian performing arts for children, and one is the larger national and regional theatres. They usually show performances for children on their main stage for large audiences, mainly families, and it's to be considered a social event. The prices are quite high, and the performances are produced by the theatre itself, and they often show adaptations of children's literature, both old and new, and also classical children's plays that we've seen several times during the years. And there's also a special tradition for Christmas theatre, which result in full houses and sold out tickets and financing the theatre for adults, as it is. The performances are at best set with an impressive scenery with very accomplished actors, and they can be described as entertaining, beautiful, touching, and they always end well. And sometimes there are new plays, sometimes challenging themes, sometimes experimental, but this is the exception and not the rule. The second category I have named the smaller regional theatres. They have smaller and more intimate stages, and the performances are developed also for touring. So they will visit culture venues and schools, and the performances are produced by the theatre itself or in co-production with an independent company of a certain fame. So the well-known companies will get to co-produce with these scenes. And these theatres also do adaptations of children's literature, but also new texts. The themes, however, are rarely controversial, at least not the outcome of the stories. But within this category, we see more experimentation with form, often related to the co-producing company's special theatrical style. And these performances are for the whole family, as well for a specific age group as they go on tour. So it's a double audience in these. And the last category is the independent companies, as you described in Iceland also. And we have actually 2 kinds, I think, of independent companies' productions. So one is created for touring in the national system of the Cultural Rucksack. And the Cultural Rucksack is a governmental ordning, how to say it, structure, or how that allows children of all ages from 1st grade until 10th grade, and also now in senior high, to see art within all art forms: film, literature, theatre, dance, and also cultural heritage. So this is a national organization for that. So there is sort of a particular kind of performances created for that. But there are also performances created for the independent stages. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I wasn't talking into that one. Created for the independent stages, more performance theatre-like, and they might go on tour, but that's not why they are produced. So there is a segregation here, I think. So these performances are, as you can see, supported from Arts Council Norway and also the municipality and various grants. So it's hard work collecting the money to produce these. And also, these are the most experimental theatre performances you will see in the Norwegian field, I think. And they experiment both in form and also in content, what the stories tell. And also they challenge different borders. And as you can see, I wrote they're inspired by performance theatre and post-dramatic theatre, and visual arts and relational arts. So it's a quite broad spectrum in this category. But they have no stage of their own, so it's also called sort of the hidden theatre, because it's there, but it's rarely reviewed. But the children see them, but they see them only with their teachers. So there's a debate going on how can we visualize these performances as well. Okay, so that's a short introduction to our field in Norway. And this situation is the backdrop for our project SceSam, which I will now go on to tell you about, and I think is why I'm asked here in the first place. So, this is just to illustrate how it is to be on tour in Norway. I don't know if I placed that picture there, but this is from a performance I went to see, and they were asked, do you have like covers for the window? Yes, we do. And this is what they had. And it's quite lovely, I think. Okay. Something has happened with my presentation. I'm not sure if, so this is my mother-in-law and my son, but I took it out. Oh, I miss him so. No. No, I use it in the, I don't know what happened. Whatever. I will go on anyway. I always include a picture of them. So the SceSam-project is a project I developed when I was working as part-time as a dramaturg at the Dramatikkens Hus, which was mentioned earlier today. And it started out as a project where we wanted to improve the quality of performing arts for children in Norway. And we got funding from the Arts Council Norway in 2012. And we developed what is now, we easily refer to it as an artistic research project, examining interactive dramaturgies in performing arts for children. At the time, we didn't know that. At the time we started, we wanted to do something for children and combining artistic knowledge, artistic practice, theoretical knowledge, and knowledge about children. As myself, I'm a drama pedagogue and a theatre scholar from theatre studies, so I have both areas of interest. So we created a project that consists of research, but also performances, and then seminars and a festival. So we were interested in examining what I've written down here is the relationship between the performers, and the child audience, both in theory and in practice. And I will elaborate on this, so you don't have to like get it all now. So that's the, something's really gone wrong here, but this is the picture I wanted to show you of the theatre with the babies. So one of our initial questions, so I'll have to improvise now, but I know this, was, is this, and you can, there is no right answer, but you can also think about these things. Is this theatre for children, or is it theatre with children, or is it just children playing? And I guess it's all at the same time. And that particular point interests me as an approach to children's theatre, because when we analyze it, when we produce it, when we show it to children, we need to know about these three dimensions, and we need to discuss it with this as a starting point. It's my professional opinion, and also what I'm interested in. So let's see what's next on this slideshow I've created. Yes, and this is a way of visualizing it. You can think of it as a thinking model that you can start. There's something called theatre for children, theatre with children, and there's also children's play culture. And their performances, they can move in between these categories during one performance, or they could stay mainly in one side of the model. And as I hope the picture shows, it doesn't have to be either or. It can be all at the same time, but in different stages. Okay, let's see where this takes us. I'll jump that one. I'm sorry, I have to go out and see what's happened here because I didn't leave it like this. There must be something. Okay. I was looking for one. Okay, I will try again and I will just skip. Okay, so I will give you our research questions for the project, even though I was going for research aims. But our research questions were, and these are related to how we wanted to work. So we wanted to work, no, it's disappeared. Oh, it's very annoying. I can't. Okay. I'll just have to see if it's there because. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. No, it's not there. Okay, then we'll have to do without. Okay, so I will take you all the way down to our research questions then. But anyway, we wanted to create, and I can talk about this before then, because we wanted to create an arena for discussion of children's theatre and interactivity in particular, because we saw that participation was a new trend. And this was back, we started working in 2009 and got the funding in 2012, and now it's an obvious trend. Everybody has already here talked about how children are not only looking at theatre, but they're also participating. And not only youth, but also smaller children now. They're working as curators in Norway. They're working as critics. They're also performing artists within these artistic concepts. So it was important for us to address the question of interactivity. But we also wanted to contribute to the development of theoretical and practical knowledge in this field, because we have no education for children's theatre in particular. Only pedagogical institutions work with these themes, but the art schools, they don't. So we wanted to make an arena where we could show both that children's theatre is interesting in its own right as an artistic medium, but also that theoretical perspectives that are used in contemporary art are relevant to this field, as well as children's culture and drama pedagogy. So we wanted to bridge these perspectives. And we wanted to work with artists themselves as researchers in their own right, investigating questions concerning the relationship between artists and the performers and the children. So what we did, before I will go to this research question, is we designed a project that consisted of 4 projects, or actually 5, and we created a research group, and we created, after a while, a festival. So I will take you through the research questions. So we asked, how can theatre artists explore children's participation in theatre performances through artistic research? And artistic research, is it a familiar concept to you, to some of you? It is the artist as a researcher, and it was new to me when I started, so I had to learn what it is, and I think now I'm beginning to understand the difference between academic research and artistic research. So this has been a journey. So how can we do that? How can they do that? We worked with that. And we also were interested in how dramaturgical reflections on interactive strategies could help us solve these theoretical and practical knots or questions we had concerning how do we discuss the relationship between the performance and the audience. And finally, these theoretical perspectives, how can bridging these theoretical perspectives help us understand interactive dramaturgies in performing arts for children? So these were our main research questions on an overall overarching level. So we organized our research as a research group consisting of both academic researchers with competence on children and theatre and the artists, and we met every now and then discussing our projects. And we also used the money we got from Arts Council Norway to finance workshop where they could try out their ideas without thinking of production, with children in the room exploring these relationships. And we participated as mentors because I'm not an artist, so I participated as a research mentor and also as a child I had knowledge about children and children's theatre. And we went in and discussed these things with the artists. And also together with my fellow researcher Lisa Hovik, we developed general perspectives and research questions on the overarching level. And the artists and the mentor from SceSam, which was I or Lisa or also Kai Jonsen was involved, who invited us or brought us together here. So they decided how they wanted to cooperate, which research questions they were to examine, and which research methods to apply, and how to document their work. And of course, ideally, we could say that everybody did this very properly, but they didn't. It was new to everybody, it was new to us, so it was a complicated process. I was very frustrated at times, but I learned a lot about how research and art, for instance, have different goals. And I will come back to this later in a short discussion. Yeah. So it's, in retrospect, it's both a rewarding process, but also very frustrating at times. There. Okay. So it should have been 2 seminars and distribution. I think I must have saved at the wrong time. I'm not sure. Okay. Can't do anything about it now. We had the second idea was to create this arena for artists, pedagogues, researchers, and also those buying and presenting the art in the schools to meet, so that we could discuss these questions. What is quality in performing art for children? What are the questions in interactive dramaturgies? So we arranged a workshop with international artists that we brought to Norway. We had the company Punch Drunk, if you know that, from England, come and give us a workshop for both our artists involved in the project and also open to others. And we had a Danish director, Sara Topsø Jensen. She came and gave us a human-specific performance, sensuous theatre. And at the same time, they gave presentations about their work, and we also presented the research we had, or our findings, or our processes mostly. And later on, we have been writing about this, and we have also invited the artists and other artists in the field in Norway to write about how they work with performing arts for children in an interactive perspective. And this year, we're also giving master classes in interactive theatre work for others in the field. So I think of it as a way of contributing with knowledge to the field, as there is no education. So this is sort of an opportunity to work with theatre for children professionally, expanding your knowledge on both the historical work you're doing and also thinking ahead. So, and what would be number 3, performances? In my ideal presentation is now 2 performances. It's like kind of tricky dramaturgy there. I will try to spend some time presenting the performances. There was a preliminary project called Theatre Foot, was the company, and it was the Birdsong trilogy. And hopefully we will see pictures from it. And then there were 4 SceSam projects. We had an open application so that every company in Norway with an interest to research and work with interactive dramaturgies could apply. And we also curated 2 performances because we knew of interesting artists that we wanted to work with. So in that way, we are also inspired by the Glitterbird project that was mentioned earlier. Some of the ways we work have been done within this project. Let's see what happens now. Yes. So I will just tell you a little bit about, to give you an impression of these performances. Also, it is a spectrum of performances that you can see in a Norwegian contemporary scene for children's theatre. So this is from the baby performance, Sparrow, and it's actually a variety of birds. They are birds, and they also have puppets that are birds. And the children are free to walk and enter on stage, as you can see. And what they're doing is that they're feeding the birds with worms. And they're not asked to join, but they're welcome to if so happens, and here it happens. And there's also an improvisational music component in the rear, you can see that. So the music and the actors work closely together in an improvisational style. And Lise Hovig, who is the director of this one, has written also her PhD on baby theatre, the aesthetics of baby theatre in a performative perspective. Some of her writings are in English, so if anyone's interested, I will tell you more later. Oh, this is another picture from that performance, and people are giving rhythm eggs. The children are given that, and also feathers, so they can play with. And afterwards, they have to give them back, which is difficult for some. But the situation and the ritual of the theatre sort of always works its way. And this trilogy also consisted of Nightingale, which was for children 3 to 5 years old. So this first one was 0 to 2, so this was 3 to 5. It's a play inspired by the story Nightingale by H.C. Andersen, the Danish story writer. It's more a traditional theatre performance, and I'll just show you pictures from the last one as well. Is Woodpecker. It's a dance about friendship, and it's very strict and close. It's not very interactive in the same way as the baby theatre, which was far more the open one. So this is the first SceSam-project. It's called Impossible, and it's discussing the situation of illegal child immigrants in Norway that are forced to leave after several years in Norway. And one particular case, and it starts out as a playing session of, not hide and seek, what's it in English? You know, I've got you, and then, I don't know the name. Okay, anyway, it starts out with a playing. And it turns out to a theatre after a while. And the picture is the artistic director himself, who's also an actor. And from the playing session, it changes into a discussion, a theatrical, in my opinion, drama pedagogical discussion of, is it right that a child whose parents lied about their background should stay in Norway, or does she have to leave? And this is how they get to express how they think about this. And the woman, the actress, is playing the main role of Kakadue, who is the girl who's been sent out. So that's one piece. And this is from the performance Foul Play by a Trondheim company called Konstellasjonen. And it discusses, I think, bullying, because there's one situation. The one in the middle is the bossy one of the three, and the two others, they are oppressed. And then when the third one is out, they take his things, or her things, its things, and they give it to the children to hide them. You know, it's like, take these things. It's like funny scene. And it's like, oh, okay, I will hide it. And then the third one returns and is very hurt because they've been not very nice. So this dilemma is presented to the audience. And they have to decide, do I want to give it back? Because she goes like this, give my things back. And they have to decide. And some keep on to their things all the way through the performance, and some give them back immediately, depending also on the actors, how they have presented the dilemma, how strict they've been, how sad she is. So it's an interesting scene in this very theatrical play. So here she is demanding her things back. So it places the dilemma of the story in the audience. The fourth was The Wizard of Oz, which is a classical story, you know, but it was made like a wandering piece, so an immersive theater experience. So you walked in and hear the thunderstorm. This is the thunderstorm. So the Dorothy on the right, everybody throws themselves to the floor, and the children also, and it's Howling Wind. So they are a part of the story, but their role is named explicitly as that of an audience. So they are bystanders walking by, but they are included in the journey. And here some of them have to help one of the characters who has fallen down. So this was a performance also for parents, so it was a family performance, but we were interested in the interaction with the children. And the last one, it's called Let's Run. And the actors you see on stage are Sara and Busha Baban, who flew from Iran. They are refugees, and they came to Norway when they were 8 and 3 years old, I think, if I remember rightly. And it's about their flight from Iraq and to Norway. So they tell their stories, and they can't remember everything, and they don't want to remember everything, but they still tell their story. And this performance was not very interactive in the sense that it involved the audience in the same way as they saw in the other examples. It had a sequence in the beginning where the children made the scenography. As you can see, there are monsters or whatever here. The children participate in making them, but then they sit in the auditorium like you do now. So our definition of interactivity in this project was very broad, because we decided that as theatre is an interactive medium in its own right, we are interested in these kinds of interactions as well, with the remaining of keeping the borders between stage and auditorium. But on the other end, this playing dramaturgy that was in the second example. So, to sum up, oh, these are our financial supporters. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Because there was one with knots here, I saw it. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, I can do there. Okay. So I will try to sum up by saying that the knots and dilemmas in this project were many, and it was a difficult and inspiring project, and I've learned a lot, and I'm very interested in working further on with it. We saw that the goals of art and research are different, and also the relationship between process and product is important in this work, and they are in friction, as well as practical and theoretical knowledge. But this is not only negative, but we found that we have to deal with these issues because we speak different languages, and some of our work has been trying to articulate, put into words what we've experienced with theoretical language, but also to investigate the theories through practice. And of course, there's the friction between theatre knowledge and drama pedagogy, which is latent, I think, in children's theatre. As a drama pedagogue, I see many of the relational projects and social works in light of drama pedagogy, where investigating themes in artistic form is always what you do. And then suddenly in an artistic frame, it's the same you do, but you do it differently, and you don't know the differences, sort of. This is a difficult topic to discuss, because it's not always welcomed. But I will insist that there are common interests here. And also we saw that even though our intentions of making interesting art were always, or the artists had good intentions, their artistic ideas were of course limited by the production context, being a school, being the financial situation of the theatre. Also, security was a major issue. When you have large groups of children working around in the theatre, there are strict rules. So these challenges were also there. And then I have to jump back to this. So I will leave you with, I won't leave you with this, I will find a nice picture for you to look on. But this we developed is a model for interactive dramaturgies. It's a working model, and it's an attempt to describe or suggest certain categories of theatre opening towards an audience, and the relationship with forms of dramaturgy, which is the first horizontal column, and then the children, and then the actors and performers. So trying to describe the children, what they are expected, how they are expected to experience, not what, but how, and see this in relations with a choice of dramaturgical form, and also what challenges this means for the actors. So if you ask a question, be prepared to get an answer. If you open up for moving around, will you also open up for free playing, or will you not? So it's a way of you to discuss the work you're doing. And it doesn't cover, one performance can't be fit into one category. It often moves from one to the other, but it's a way of thinking, I believe. And this is also published in a paper in Youth Theatre Journal, so it is online. And on the other version, the successful version of my PowerPoint, there was the name of the article, but you can ask me if you want it. Okay. So let's see which picture to end with. It's heavy stuff, I think, the pictures. So that was my plan, to finish there elegantly after giving you a straight and perfect PowerPoint presentation. I still hope you enjoyed and got some idea of our project, and if not, or you want to know more, please don't hesitate to ask now or after Espen has, or later on. I will be here. Okay, thank you.